House Speaker Nancy Pelosi joins me now from the Capitol. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. We just played an interview with Mercedes Borges that was done by Morgan Radford, our correspondent. She lives in Milwaukee. She's being evicted. She's been living in this house for 3 years. She's got 2 children. She was literally weeping on camera about letting her kids down and about not even having a place to boil water for them, that they look up to her as their hero. I mean, I was overwhelmed by it. I'm sure our viewers were. And yet the Democrats have yet to hear from a united Republican approach on a bill. I mean, you know how long it's been since you passed legislation, but everyone is going to be blamed, the president, the Senate, and the Democratic House, by Americans who are just hurting as this recession gets worse.
No, it's not about blame of the Democratic House. We have put forth our resolution 2 months and 9 days ago.
No, I know.
And also,
I know.
In addition to that, specifically for rent, we did a couple of weeks ago on a Monday under leadership of Maxine Waters. But regardless of how we assign blame or point figures, the fact is, as you described, tens of millions of people are out of work. And now we've reached 4 million people infected by this virus, and the Senate Republicans have decided to take the weekend off. But let's get more to the family that you described. These are the people that we as Democrats are in Congress to fight for. These are the kitchen table concerns that are repeated across the country. And thank you for showing that story, because nothing is more eloquent or more clearly drives home the message than the personal stories. Right now, we're in a situation where people will be evicted from their homes, and they are starving. There's food insecurity across America. Millions of children are hungry. These are kitchen table issues: out of work, out of money, out of food, out of the house. And again, there are answers to this. They are answers that have a basis in what we have done before. I, for the life of me, cannot understand why the Republicans in Congress hold it against people without, shall we say, a trust fund or something, why they can't get through this on their own. Food stamps. We're trying to increase the level of food assistance, and they resist that. Rent. Now, do you understand people will be on the street and people are hungry? This is the United States of America. So let's find out how we can work together to go forward. We were hopeful the other day when we met with the Secretary of Treasury and Leader Schumer and I to talk about these issues, and then within 24 or 48 hours, they were going to come back with their bill. And of course, our bill, as I said, it's lean and mean. It's exactly what we need. It sounds like a lot of money, but the challenge is a big one. In 100 days, it took 100 days. It took 100 days to get to 1 million infected people in our country. It took half that time to get to 200. It took a quarter of that time, 27 days, to get to 3 million, and it took about 16 days to get 4 million. This thing is accelerating. Why? Because delay, denial, distortion. And now, finally, hopefully, we will be able to get a bill that holds us in check so we can open our schools and our economy with testing, tracing, treating. We can put money in the pockets of the American people. We can honor our heroes with state and local funds, and they're missing in action.
Now, the president also, in the last day, repealed the anti-segregated housing action for the suburbs, and he's being criticized as, frankly, race-baiting with a pitch to suburban women voters, a cohort he is losing in recent polls. But his pitch was to, quote, suburban housewives of America. Does that sound like we're going back to the 1950s?
It sounds like condescension and disrespect is what it does. And it also sounds like discrimination and fear-baiting. I mean, he's just fear-mongering. It's just a ball of his tricks that he does all the time. Bigotry, fear-mongering, condescension, and distortion. But you know what? American women are smarter than that. And again, the housewives part was interesting. I loved being a housewife when I was a housewife, but I was other things as well, and I had other judgment. It's actually sort of in the same vein of Mr. Yoho, and weren't we proud of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez as a grandmother of 2 young granddaughters and as mother of 4 daughters. I was going to say, you go, Congresswoman, you go, Congresswoman. But it's the same condescension and disrespect.
I wanted to play a little bit of her very impactful speech yesterday. Let's watch.
What I believe is that having a daughter does not make a man decent. Having a wife does not make a decent man. Treating people with dignity and respect makes a decent man. And when a decent man messes up, as we all are bound to do, he tries his best and does apologize. Not to save face, not to win a vote.
It strikes me that the importance of having so many more women in the House is that there is more diversity, and there was diversity, there was strength in that diversity with the other women House members backing her up, and importantly, you backing her up.
Of course. Well, you know, what was clear from what she said is that what happened that day was his problem and continues to be his problem. She's not taking any insult from him in terms of any diminishment of confidence that she has as to who she is. We couldn't have been prouder.
I want to talk about schools. You mentioned reopening
but I
schools.
just may say, he may have thought he had
safe,
license to do that because of the language that the president has used in regard to women in the course of his life, and that is well known to people, and perhaps accepted as something that passes for civilized in certain circles on the Republican side of the aisle.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.